farmers in 1932 until about 1940, so basically it stopped when Japan, a bunch of milk farmers were about to lose their homes. This is mainly because the federal price of milk is not very good, and people were metaphorically drowning because they couldn't produce enough milk. And they took up arms, picket signs, and began to block roads. This starts taking place in Minnesota and North Dakota. This starts out as a small strike. These people are lovingly referred to as holidayers by the papers, and in just North Dakota alone, especially just after only 3 days, it had spread to over 36 counties in North Dakota, and this was able to cut off all dairy exports or imports 24 hours a day. Now, don't think that this is just bleak for the farmers. This is also really bleak for the cows, mainly because they were being turned loose into these barren cornfields and just not really having many good options for nutrition. But it quickly spreads, not just in the major cities, but then to entire states like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, and they had to, pull extra weight because North Dakota wasn't going to put in their share, Minnesota wasn't going to put in their share, and more of these states began to threaten a strike, or as they called it, a milk holiday, and it sparked a general milk strike all the way in Great Britain. It also moved to Norway, and this isn't a continuous thing. It moves on and off depending on the conditions, but it continues into 33, where the actual first sparks of this alleged war begin to fly, as these people, now armed with more advanced weapons, now with rudimentary explosives as well as their clubs, they begin to face off in major cities, especially because the mob is a major thing at this time. And they start to face off with police and mobsters, and it just goes off the rails. The farmers begin to taint their milk with kerosene or other fluids that aren't fit for consumption, and the government responds by then bringing out the National Guard, and then they start firing on protesters, and then this escalates to the farmers beginning to bomb things, and these just continue. It continues over a bunch of major cities for the next 8 years, mainly because nothing could ever be resolved. How is this put to an end? Because this sees through many historical events, namely the Dust Bowl being the new one, saw Prohibition come and go, saw the New Deal, and in case you're wondering, it was mainly the Great Depression. And this really only ended with the passing of the Milk Code, which stated that people who transported milk and salesmen of milk were entitled to $20 a week with a 4% commission. And that's in 1930s money. That's pretty handsome. Sounds pretty good to be a milk producer. But this basically continued until everyone's demands were, if not met, negotiated on. And eventually the strikes dried up in Wisconsin, but North Dakota held out the longest. And the milk wars really truly did end with Al Capone in Alcatraz in 1939, after a bunch of involved mobsters were prosecuted. Al Capone being one that was more indirect, and I don't really see it mentioned that he might have gotten imprisoned and prosecuted for the milk wars, but it's definitely a contributing factor.